We had two very exciting racing events happening this past weekend in Singapore on the Marina Bay Street Circuit. I'm sure one of them you're very familiar with. I'm not sure if you've heard about the second racing event, so let me just get right into it. Hey folks, and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Racing Show here at RacePlazaMedia. My name is Pia, and if you're an F1 fan, you knew this past weekend we had the Singapore Grand Prix, the 23rd time F1 was racing in Singapore on the street circuit, a night race. And last year we had some very exciting racing happening with Sainz unexpectedly winning the race in Singapore. So going into this weekend, I was expecting some excitement, maybe a different race winner, but the race was okay, I would say. I have a couple highlights that I want to share with you, and then the second racing event that I want to mention to you to make sure that you didn't forget about it. But let's get into the first highlight of this past weekend, Singapore Grand Prix for Formula One. I mean, it was very unexpected. It was very much a big surprise, given that this race has 100% history of a safety car. This past weekend, we had no safety cars at the Singapore Grand Prix for the Formula One guys. I was very surprised, especially going into the qualifying. We did have Sainz get into the wall. We had several people going off track a little bit because it is a very tight street circus. It's really about millimeters. There's very little runoff area, as notorious for a street circuit. So I was very impressed that the guys were able to manage to drive the whole entire race, 60 plus laps, without a safety car, without any major incident, truly. We did have two retirements. We had Alex Albon had to retire earlier on in the race. He retired on lap 15, and then Kevin Magnussen almost finished the race, but then in lap 60, unfortunately, he had to retire as well. Highlight number 2, I want to give a big shout out to Nico Hulkenberg. I mean, how impressive is his season? Not only is he driving for Haas, and they have not had the best seasons as of late. However, this season he's been in the points several times. He hasn't made it even into Q3 a couple of times, and it's just really nice to see of a driver who has over 200 races under his belt or under his helmet. I like seeing that he's doing so, especially given that he's going to be switching to Stake /Sauber /Audi next season, and I'm not sure he will have the best car right from the get-go. Hopefully he will before he will eventually retire, but it's just really lovely to see not only that Haas is doing better, but especially that Nico Hulkenberg, especially as a German, I'm very excited to see him do well. Another little shout out I want to give to our rookie, Frankie Colapinto. He's had another excellent race. He ended up not in the points, barely missing it. He came in 11th, but it was, I mean, nobody can blame him. Singapore is a very difficult Grand Prix. He's never driven in Singapore before. It's very hot. I mean, the conditions are so tough, and he did make it very hard for some of the other drivers to pass him and to compete with him. There's also a radio message from Sergio Perez where his engineer was like, "Oh, come on, you can get him, and then after a while Sergio was like, "No, he's good. He's really good at defending at what he's doing, especially for the street circuit." I mean, it is tricky to overtake in Singapore, period, but he is still a rookie. It was his first time on the track. He's had very little experience in the F1 car so far. Only his third race, and he has been very impressive. Now, moving on to the other race that I was teasing at the beginning of the video that happened this past weekend in Singapore. Not only was it just one race, it was two races by the F1 Academy. Did you know that they were racing this weekend? If you watched our What to Watch video on Thursday, you probably knew about it. A lot of people are not yet familiar with F1 Academy, the junior league for the women, to give them opportunity, to give them exposure, to give them time in the single-seater cars for them to then rise up through the regular mixed leagues. This was another very exciting round for the women in Singapore. They had the two races. Both races are about 20 minutes each, and they're always exciting. And believe it or not, we did also have a safety car this weekend around. I don't want to spoil too much because I'm hoping that you've watched it. Yes. Have you watched it? If not, you are missing out. We've been preaching about not just the F1 Academy, but also the junior leagues this whole entire year. I mean, we're not even a full year into this YouTube channel yet, but we've been preaching it to you guys. Definitely check out the junior leagues. They're so fun to watch. They don't have DRS available to them, so it's really about them managing the car, managing the tires, using the slipstream, and really showing off their skills. We had 2 very exciting races this week, and there's lots of takeovers happening, lots of battling, beautiful racing. And then this weekend also we had Ella Lloyd as our wild card for the F1 Academy. She joined only this weekend for both races. She's also been competing in the F4 British Championship, where she's been on the podium several times. So I was very excited to see how she would fare in this weekend's F1 Academy races. And let me tell you, she did an excellent job. But I beg you, please go online, check it out. If you have the F1 TV subscription, you can watch it there. And it's definitely something you don't want to miss. We had safety cars, we've had penalties, we had a second formation lap that needed to be done. I mean, there's lots and lots of excitement. So please check it out. And if you did check it out, or if you've already watched it, please let me know in the comments below. And also, if you have a favorite driver from the F1 Academy. The cool thing is also, especially when you watch any of the junior leagues, really, like F4, F1 Academy, F3 even, like once you get to know those drivers, you suddenly see them pop up everywhere. You see them in GT racing, sports car racing, in endurance racing, in maybe a different junior formula league. So it's really nice to see them suddenly all over the place and then watch their career, because they're still very much at the earlier stages of their career. So this is your opportunity to see them, to watch them grow into somebody who might even compete in Formula One day. All right, let's go back to Formula One, the Singapore Grand Prix. Highlight number 4 is, of course, the podium. We have had Lando come back for another win ahead of Max Verstappen. And then third, we have Oscar Piastri. So the McLarens, both of them did really well. Our second Red Bull, not quite as much, but he also didn't have the best qualifying session. But Max did end up coming in second. However, now, I'm sure you might have already heard about this, but now for the remainder of the season, if Max only gets second for the remainder of the season, and even if Lando wins all of the remaining races, Max will still take the overall driver championship. I mean, lots can still happen. You've watched the season, presumably, so you know there's been a lot of things that happened this season that were unexpected. We've had lots of different winners. We've had Max even not finish a race. So it's been, a lot has happened. So a lot can still happen during these remaining races. We do have a little bit of a break coming up now, unfortunately, and then we will be back here in the United States for the US Grand Prix in Austin, Texas. And my final highlight for today is, of course, Danny Ricciardo. I mean, what an emotional ending to the Singapore Grand Prix this was. We don't even know yet if this was officially his last race with VSEC #RB. I mean, lots of rumors hint to it. His actions clearly hint to it. The team's actions clearly hint to it. But we have yet to hear the official word. In case you didn't see it, Danny did spend a little bit of extra time at the end of the race in the car just to savor the moment and have a moment to himself with the car in the cockpit, because this might have been his last race with Formula One. Then, of course, in the post-race interview, he did get a little bit emotional, teary-eyed when asked about his last moments or his longer moments in the car for this race. And then there's also pictures at the end when he was leaving the paddock, when he was leaving the VSEC #RB area, that people were lining up outside and giving him hugs and handshakes and saying essentially their goodbyes. It's a bummer. I mean, I love Danny Ricciardo. I have a sweater with his number on it, and I mean, he's such a fun and pleasant being. At least he seems to be it on the paddock. He's beloved by many people. He's always has a smile on his face. Yes, of course, that has nothing to do with him being a race car driver, but he will definitely be missed. It's also always a bummer when a driver has to leave in the middle of the season, or now we're like 3/4 through the season, so why not let him finish it? It's not like they have the best car anyways. Not sure if anybody who will be joining next, if he will be doing a much better job. but only time will tell. But there also have been rumors already that maybe we will be seeing Danny in a NASCAR vehicle next. I think it makes a lot of sense, especially considering his love for America, for the culture that is America. So seeing him in an American sport, I see very, very likely. But who knows? Only time will tell. Most likely, hopefully, sooner than later, we will hear the official news about him and Visa Cash App RB and then his future as well. All right, folks, these are all of my favorite highlights from the Singapore weekend. I don't think the F1 race was the most exciting this weekend. However, the F1 Academy race, I keep telling you guys, please check it out. So let me know in the comments below what you thought about this past weekend's F1 Singapore Grand Prix. Did you think it was an exciting race? What do you think about potentially Danny departing from the F1 grid? Let me know your thoughts, and we will see you again here at the Daily Racing Show with Race Plaza Media. Bye-bye.